What's going on, guys? It's Jorge Dez here on Runnin Vegas. I am your host, co-host, and your guest today. So doing something a little bit different. My partner, John McNamara, he's on vacation right now. So I've asked my Insta friends, just anybody that's on social media, to send me questions. We're going to play it a little different. We'll see how this goes. It's my first time doing a podcast by myself. So we'll see. This might feel like a, what do you call it? Like when you journal, or like a, I don't know, almost with all the like lights and the cameras, it looks almost like a little deposition of some sort. But yeah, anyways, you guys, thank you for the comments or the questions you guys sent me. I'll try to get to most of them. I have 25 here, so appreciate everyone that was on the gram and sent me a question. This is going to make it so much more fun. I found it funny that I do real estate, and I think there is one question in here regarding real estate. So I don't know if you guys are just over the real estate stuff on Instagram, or you guys just don't care about that part of my life. So I'll answer all the other questions you guys did send in. So one of the questions I want to start off with is, what have I learned about the pod? Stephanie sent me this question. If you guys haven't checked her out, she also has a podcast. It's called The Foundry. It's Stephanie McGowan. Awesome girl, awesome vibes. So definitely giving Stephanie a shout out and go check her out. And to answer her question, I would say the biggest learning lesson doing a pod is, every time is completely different, and you have to match people's energy, but then at the same time, you kind of have to bring the energy. If that makes any sense. There are times when anybody that knows me knows that I am a very talkative person. I make a short story long, and there are some people that are not like that. So if they're not giving you anything and you're in the middle of a pod and that's your guest, then it makes it very difficult to hit our 30 minutes. So I don't know if that's a learning lesson, but yeah, just matching people's energy and just being okay with whatever the vibes are going to be. It's what the vibes are going to be. So yeah, let's get into some of these questions. I might, get sidetracked. Most of you guys that know me know that I have like 10 stories at a time. For those of you guys who don't know me, I do real estate here in Las Vegas, which you guys don't seem like you care about. I've been in Vegas for over 10 years, went to school to Nevada University. Love that campus, love the teachers there, really good time. But yeah, let's start with question number one. It's, what's something people assume about me that's completely wrong? Ooh, way to get deep there. I'm not sure. So I guess I don't ask. I guess I don't ask. I mean, what's something people assume about me that's completely wrong? You know what? Actually, that I'm not friendly at times. So believe it or not, there are moments when some of my really good friends now at one point thought I was unapproachable, or I wasn't very friendly, or I was cold. So that's something that people get wrong about me. And then once I'm a lover, guys, once you're in, and we're lifers. So yeah, if somebody gave me $10 million tomorrow, what would I stop doing immediately? Ooh, $10 million tomorrow. I would probably, I'm not sure. What's something I would stop doing? I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what I will do. I will buy a lot of acreage, and I will live in a little cabin with Luna by myself. Nobody around. What is one of the most expensive lessons I've learned? I won't get into expensive lessons, but there's been a lot. So, one's happening right now. I won't talk about it, but yeah, anyways, car getting fixed. What is something that I believed at 25 that I completely disagree with today? What did I believe at 25 that I completely disagree with today? You guys, now I feel like I should have like prepped for these questions, but I'm like, I thought it was going to be an authentic. So can I give you guys a story though, really quick? So let me tell you guys, so how the podcast came about and why I'm even in front of the camera right now. So about 2 years ago, John wanted a podcast, and I'm a doer. I like to just do things. I don't like to plan things out in a head or just say that we're going to do things. I like the implementation of things. So that's why I always have 100 tasks. And about 2 years ago, John was on Trish Williams, another great realtor, great human, podcast. And he's like, oh, I want to do it. And it was with Rick. And Rick is the owner of our production center here. And he does our pods and does the editing and all that. Shout out to Rick. And he's like, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me get the information. At that time, the podcast was in a completely different location. I love this location. It's pretty close to our office for those of you guys that know where we're at. And and we started right away. And I told John, so fun fact, I told John, I'm like, hey, I'll help you get people to the pod, guests. The only thing I will not help you with is co-host. I don't want to be on the podcast. I don't want that to be my weekly thing. I'm like, it's not in me. For those of you guys that don't know me very well, I do. So here's another fun fact. So I have not to this day watched any of my podcasts in its entirety. I hate watching myself. Podcast isn't something I would probably do by choice, but I know it's a growth moment for me, as John would say. But so anywho, he started on this journey of doing the podcast, and then after a year, I was a guest on the show, and then I somehow started to be co-host. And you would have never, this would have never been in it took me literally a year to be on his podcast to somehow end up on this podcast anyway as a co-host. And here I am. So this is how I'm in front of you guys. I don't know how I went on that tangent, but cool story. So what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to me in real estate? Oh, here's a real estate question. Most embarrassing thing that's happened to me in real estate. You guys, I don't have an embarrassing story in real estate. However, I do have a very funny story. So do you guys remember COVID? Like when COVID was going on? So I had sold a home here in Las Vegas to a client, and then her husband needed to sell. It so happened that he was in the Bay Area at the same time, and that's where I'm from, guys. That's where my family's at. He needed to sell his home, and I was in the Bay Area. He was in the Bay Area. And do you guys remember all the stupid rules during COVID where you couldn't somehow sit outside? And so just to give you context, we are at a shopping center very similar to, it's in Walnut Creek, to what downtown Summerlin is here. And all the benches have caution tape on there. And we can't sit anywhere, and there's security guards there, right? And he's like, hey, I need to sell my home. And I'm like, hey, I could do my listing appointment. I'll bring my paperwork. We'll do it outside, no problem. Because he was more of a face-to-face person. I had already had a good track record with 2 other homes that I've sold for them. And the security guard comes around, and he's like, you guys can sit on the bench. You guys shouldn't be here. And talk about anybody. I want to hear your real estate stories. If you're a realtor, send them over to me because I find them comical. But here's what occurs. He has this like mom van, and he's like, dude, if you want to, we can go in the van and we can fill out the paperwork. It was the most sus looking transaction during COVID. It was stupid. It was funny. That's probably my funniest story. I don't know if it's embarrassing, but it's, I got the paperwork signed, sold a home, and the rest is history. So that's kind of a fun story, memory, I guess, real estate. If my closest friends were here right now, what would they roast me for? So my closest, okay, so just so you guys know, my friends and I roast each other for fun. That's our love language. Like if we are not shitting on each other, it's not a true friendship. We're constantly talking shit. So what would they roast me about? I don't know. You would have to ask John. Probably, who knows? I don't know what I get roasted for. What's one thing I'm actively trying to improve about myself this year? You guys, I'm just trying to get better every day. It's like, it's like sometimes I take 10 steps forward, or what's the American saying? And then I take 20 steps back, or one step forward, whatever it is. So as long as I'm just doing a little better than I did yesterday, then I'm good. But I guess it's a morning routine. I have changed up my morning routine lately, and let me know if you have a really good one. My morning routine lately is a lot slower than what it was 2 years ago, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's doing dumbbells. It is watering my plants, spending a little time with Luna. It's having coffee at the house. Once upon a time, I was doing True Fusion classes at 5:30, and I still might get back to that. But it's just, yeah, I think it's just, I want to live a life that's more intentional and simplified. I don't need to do all these crazy fads that are coming around, and no diss to everybody that, has a crazy morning routine. However, I'm like, what is something where I am starting the day off with gratitude? I'm also journaling in the morning. Starting the day off with gratitude, happy, and just ready to start about my day. And to me, that's not like infrared sauna in the cold plunge, and just so I could say I did it. You know what I mean? It's when am I completely at peace with myself and not for show. So what habit changed my life the most? I'm gonna have to come back to that one. So you guys, if you sent me these questions and I didn't answer it and you actually really, really wanted to know, just get back to me. But these are great questions. So I need to do this more often. I'm wondering if I did this podcast next and I had to do it alone, if I should like do the social media, like, like the Instagram live, if you guys, and then the questions maybe are coming in live, if that would be more fun. But so what is the biggest fear that most people don't know about that I have? My biggest fear. I'm not sure. I don't know. Fear. I don't know about that one. There's things I'm uncomfortable with that I do repeatedly, again, like the podcast that I do until my next thing is watching my pod. Then it's improving it somehow. But yeah, I don't know. You know what, guys? Sometimes you just got to look at fear in the eye and just be like, I don't care. So what's the dumbest purchase I've ever made? Oh, you guys, there's a lot of those. I've bought watches that I've only used one time, experiences that I thought were going to be fun and they fucking sucked. Then, yeah, I don't know. What's the dumbest purchase? Yeah, I guess it's everything comes with an experience, and it either hits the mark or it doesn't, right? So I don't know. If I wasn't in real estate, what would I be doing? Oh, that's a good question. So something in visual media. I went to school for visual media. It'd be marketing of some sort, or fashion. So for those of you guys that don't know, when I was in college, I worked at the college doing audits, and I worked at Express. And I loved working at Express. You guys, it pays nothing. It paid nothing, but it was so much fun to just get dressed up, go in, and you dress people I worked in the men's department, you just dress people, and they would come into town to go to, I'm going to Omnia, or I'm going to this dinner, or I have a first date. So that was really cool. Maybe something in fashion, marketing. I had a little part-time job. It was very short-lived, even though I did go to bartending school. So I think I'd probably even be a bartender. I think I'd be really good at that. I just don't know about the industry. I think I would party too much. So yeah, if I wasn't doing real estate, probably any of those three. Those all would be fun. What's a hill I'll die on even if nobody agrees with me? Who wrote that question? I don't know. That has to be somebody older. I don't even think that way. I'm not sure. What's a hill I'll die on even if nobody agrees? I'm not sure. What is one unpopular opinion I have? Oh, this is a good question. Unpopular opinion I have. It is, I don't find Disneyland to be the happiest place on earth. I've talked about this many, many times, and I'm like, Disney to me is not happy. I do not want to be around a whole bunch of kids. I do not want to be around crowds. I do not want to be around Mickey ears. So if you are ever planning a vacation and I'm involved and it has anything to do with Disney, I'm not going. So, yep, that's unpopular. I've never changed it. I've been to Disneyland twice because of my nieces, and then the third niece didn't get that privilege. I'm like, I can only do it twice. So that is probably the biggest. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, but Disneyland and Mickey ears and all those people, it's not the happiest place on earth. It just gives me anxiety. I'm in a bad mood. Not it. So what's something I wish people understood about success? You know what? Here's what I'm learning. I don't need people to understand. This is what I'm understanding about success. Success is whatever you want to make it out to be. And, for me, I just said earlier, shifting gears a little bit, not to get all serious with you guys or philosophical. However, success is, am I doing what I want to do on my day-to-day life? And I feel very privileged. I feel successful every day, and I feel like I'm in gratitude every day. Success is whatever you want to make it. And, there was a time where I kept on changing what's the American saying when you have a goal, but then you move the goal out more and more and more and more and more. So you never feel successful. To me now, success is just being healthy. For a year and a half, I had sciatica. It's just a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Success is having my health. So it's just that, it's that if we related to real estate, is everything comes in waves, or any job, I guess, or any entrepreneur, it's just everything goes up and down. So the funniest client story I can share. So I shared it already with you guys. It's definitely taking a listing appointment and signing paperwork for selling a house inside a van in Walnut Creek. What was the moment I realized I need to take my finances more seriously? You guys, so that I'm still working on. I now have, I'm working with Riva. Shout out to Riva. She is a, oh my God, why am I blanking right now? The, not business planner, but the financial planner. And then just, just getting very specific of where all my money, every single dollar is going to, has changed everything. And seriously, it was probably after college. I was in credit card debt, student loan debt, and that's when I realized, I'm like, hey, something's got to give, and I got to get serious about this. And yeah. If someone followed me around for a week, what would surprise them the most? You know what it is? I think that I'm a homebody. Everybody thinks that, I am constantly out and about because I have to meet clients. We have events, and that is the nature of our business. So it seems like I'm constantly doing a lot. But if they followed me, I love being home. I love being home. I love being at home with Luna. I love not leaving my house. Weekends, I could be there all weekend. And there are weekends where I DoorDash. I don't leave the front door, So I think that's something they find surprising. They probably think old me was constantly on the go. So you could find me downtown anytime. But what does a perfect day in my life look like now? Ooh, that's a pretty good question. You know what? It's just being emotionally regulated. That is what my perfect day looks like. Emotionally regulated, starting the morning like I want to. I shared with you guys my morning routine. Going into the office, it brings me a lot of joy. I work with my best friend and, my business partner, which I'm so lucky. It's like some people go to work and they hate the people they work with. I get so privileged that I not only have that, but I have the perfect friends, guys. It's just so weird. I'm the luckiest kid in the world because I have amazing friends. So my day-to-day life, I just am always super grateful. It is just, I don't even know how to explain. It's just, my perfect day looks like almost every day I make it. It's perfect. It's a workout in, living in gratitude. Everybody that is around me is healthy, and just kind of doing what I want. That's really what the perfect day is. What's one thing I still struggle with despite all my growth? You guys, this podcast, I was just telling Rick on the way in. So the podcast isn't my thing. I know that there's a lot of platforms and avenues that this is gonna take us to. I love the guests we have on here, and I know it's a growth moment for me. So it is that I'm still struggling with. So, but to be honest, right now is a growth moment. I mean, I'm here alone. And we're talking. This may or may not air, so we'll see. What are three things people can always count on me for? I always show up. Me being sarcastic, and you can count on me telling you the truth. Even if it hurts. So I don't sugarcoat things. So anybody that knows me, John always likes to make fun of me because he says I have no filter. He thinks I'm on the spectrum. He thinks I have the tism. But it's those three things. Count on me. So believe me, I am that friend that I'll let you know, like, hey, like, do you think you should go out looking like that? I'm like, you look like you don't have a mirror or a friend. So, count on me for that. If you guys don't have one of those friends, just hit me up. What's the biggest mistake people make when trying to build a business? I don't know. I can talk about real estate. What's the biggest mistake? When building a business, I'll tell you what I didn't know starting real estate, how much money I was going to need truly to get started. Until I had my first client, and I underestimated that, or I was very ignorant to it. However, because I was ignorant to it, I just went ahead and did it. But I think it's just not having enough funds. So I could just speak for our business or my business. That's probably the biggest mistake. Just trying to build a business. You need to allocate a lot more money than you think. And everything adds up very, very quick in the beginning. So, and another thing I see in real estate, biggest mistake people make is everybody's a little too worried about what their office is going to look like, what their logo is going to look like, what their branding is going to look like. And the most important thing that you could be working on is leads. So if you don't have that, all that other stuff doesn't really matter. What do I want people to remember about me when I leave this podcast? Wow. Like, I don't know if that question meant like literally this podcast or if I ever leave this podcast. What do I want people to remember me? I'm not sure, guys. I guess that's up for you guys to decide. You guys let me know. Okay, so then I did write some questions and you guys didn't. And let's see. What's my most irrational fear? You guys, insects. For some reason, little flying insects. And it's like, there was this one time we were in Nashville, Tennessee, and I don't even know what this thing was, a grasshopper or whatever. It lands on my neck. I jump over this table and I'm literally yelling, right? It's like this grown man just yelling. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And so it's little bugs. Bugs are not my friend. What luxury item is actually worth every penny? I don't know. It depends what you mean by luxury. I'm not sure. I can't think of anything really. What trend needs to disappear immediately? You guys, okay, so this is going to be related to real estate. The gray, stop using gray. It's so sad. They call it millennial gray, sad gray. It's like, let's stop using gray inside your home. Yeah, that trend needs to disappear immediately. What is something I used to judge people for and now understand? Ooh, you guys know what? It is going to bed early. You guys do not know how I look forward to going to bed. And before, I used to be kind of like a night owl, and I would be getting ready to dinners at 8, 9 p.m. at times, and nightclubs at 10, 11. And yeah, now I understand it. I like getting up early. I'm that kid at 11:30. I'm already having lunch, and I'm wondering, how some people are barely just getting their day started. So I completely understand that. What is the most George thing I've ever done? This is a funny story. We're running out of time, so I'll tell you guys this story and then we'll close it out. The most George thing I've ever done is how I explain things at times. And I don't realize, you guys, I grew up in the Bay Area and, working class. So, I don't want to come off as privileged. Let me make that very clear. And, so, there's times when all of us are looking at our finances and we need to budget a little more, right? And so my buddy and I, John, we're taking a vacation and I'm like, you know what? This one shouldn't be. And this is how my head works. Hey, if we stay close, it's cheaper. So it's, in my head, frugal. Because we tend to go either cruise or Hawaii or it's somewhere far, right? So you have to get plane tickets and then you're paying for your luggage and you know what I mean. So this particular case, this is a very George thing of me, how I explain things. And we are going to Beverly Hills. And yeah, and I'm telling my story to another buddy, I'm like, hey dude, it's like, we're just we're gonna just, we're cutting our finances or whatever. How did I explain it? I'm like, we're cutting our finances, we got to stay on a budget, so we're just gonna go to Beverly Hills. And he's from Midwest or whatever. He's like, time out. He's like, what did you say? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, we're trying to, save money. So we're just going to go to Beverly Hills. And he's like, see, this is why people don't like people from California. It's little shit like that. And what I meant was, hey, there's going to be no airfare or anything like that. And it was the funniest thing. And as I told the story over and over, I'm like, man, I could see why I get judged for the way I speak at times. They're like, oh, this kid just must be out of touch with reality. But that's George, how I explain stories or how things work in my head. And my reality is not everybody else's reality. And then I understand. So anyways, what chapter of life am I entering right now? I'm just redoing everything. It's just, everything that's simplified. So I'm really excited for that, and yeah, just looking forward to doing more of these pods, just meeting more people this year. Business is going to take off, growing our team. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today, guys. I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think. If I didn't get to your question, I'm sorry. But I do appreciate you guys sending those questions. It makes it so much more fun. So anyway, everybody, peace out.